So I'd like to begin this talk on design, shaping spaces, by sharing a little bit about what we're learning in our journey through design at Hyatt. But I'm first going to begin with where I was yesterday morning at about 10 a.m. I wasn't running. So let me just ask, any runners? Anybody running the marathon? Okay. Next year, maybe. So this is about 3 or 4 blocks from my house. This is at mile marker 10. And there were these passionate runners of all sizes and shapes running different speeds. And it occurred to me that somebody, so that's where it was, mile marker 10, sort of Old Town, Lincoln Park, for those of you that are from Chicago. It occurred to me that somebody needed to design the course. So somebody had to take the time to actually think about where these runners were going to go and make sure that everything they needed along the way was going to be there. And thankfully, we have a really exceptional grid system in Chicago that makes a race like this possible to navigate. It's that same city design that actually shapes the everyday experience for more than 1 million commuters through our public transportation system. And as many of you know, all of this wouldn't have happened without a grand design for Chicago just at the turn of the century with Daniel Burnham. So there are some elements or aspects of design that are really enduring. And indeed, for more than a century, Chicagoans like me have been able to enjoy Daniel Burnham's design. But it's not so much the case anymore that design can be enduring. And in fact, the real focus of today's session is that our city is changing. So many other cities are changing. The world is changing at a speed almost impossible to keep up with. And the people that you'll hear from today are the ones that are asking the questions, what's our role in responding to all of this? Who should shape the nature of design? Who are the people that we're designing for? Users, humans. And to address what needs and desired outcomes. So you'll be hearing a variety of perspectives of how designers are taking on these questions. For us at Hyatt, we're really in a journey about passionate colleagues designing experiences, both in physical and virtual spaces, to really provide care for our guests. This isn't necessarily the way, in fact, I'll tell you for sure, it isn't the way the hotel industry has operated for many, many, many years. We've been an industry that's been focused absolutely on design, but the design of buildings, the design of spaces, that you'll see, quite beautiful. In a variety of ways all over the world, welcoming guests, but focusing primarily on how to operate these physical spaces, how to operate hotels. And that's important. We know you expect that. But it's not sufficient. And so we're really on a journey of focusing on designing experiences that can provide sort of an empathetic, a very personal connection in space. And I'd like to just share with you a little bit about how we're doing that. All of the designers and innovators that you'll hear from bring different methods or approach, but I think you'll find that there's something about human-centered, people-centered design. And for us, this is a process that's very different from operating a hotel the same way every day. It's about understanding people's needs. It's about really thinking about new ideas. And then it's about prototyping and testing as we go forward. And we've been doing this in 8 lab hotels around the world. And I'd just like to share with you a little bit of what we're learning. These aren't beautiful, glossy, wonderful pictures from our website. These are real colleagues and guests and some of the experience elements that we're working to design. First and foremost, one of the things that we've discovered in our lab hotels is that for more than 50 years, we've been an industry run by men for men, male guests, largely business travelers. And we're finding that we just need to provide different experiences. And women guests are our first focus in terms of some of the new things that we're doing. As we've been doing this, we've also realized that we need to focus on our colleagues, our staff members in hotels, and the experiences they need. And they're changing as well. So here are some of the concepts that we're working on, and in each one I want to share both the guest side and the colleague side. So one of the things, and you maybe appreciate this as a guest, The arrival experience can tend to be very mundane. You go to a desk, a front desk that acts as a barrier. Oftentimes you have to wait in a long line. Well, how can we change that? So through technology, iPads, this mobile host is at O'Hare. She, on busy times, will actually greet you at O'Hare, check you in so you can whisk all the way to your room without ever having to stop. One of the things we realized as we were prototyping this is particularly our women colleagues said it was okay for years and years that you had me dress in this uniform because I was hiding or I was hidden behind a desk. But now that I'm actually out in front, I don't feel great, and I'd like the chance to actually design and choose what I wear. So in our lab hotels, our colleagues are actually choosing, and we're not even calling them uniforms, they're fashion, things that will help them feel good about themselves as they're serving our guests. Indeed, the whole lobby experience, we're taking a different look. This one you need to read sort of more in Japanese style, upper right, and then moving there. I mentioned rapid prototyping, starting with just available furniture and reconfiguring what the arrival experience could be, getting away from this idea of a barrier, more of a welcoming environment. And you'll see in picture 4 there, this is the first prototype at the Grand Hyatt San Francisco that creates much more of a welcoming conversation between the guest and the colleague. We've learned, particularly from our women guests, that security and comfort in getting to the room, and first of all, not putting them in back corridor rooms that are very far away from the public areas, but even the security of the rooms and their safety there is something very important. So we're looking at RFID, NFC technology where, I don't know about you, but I have about 20 or 30 loyalty cards that I always lose. Well, for us, Gold Passport, what if that loyalty card actually had an RFID chip in it that was your perpetual room key? And as you were arriving at a hotel, you got a text message to say, here's your room, and you could go directly. And it's a much more secure form of door opening. For our colleagues, they love this because instead of the routine or mundane checking in at the front desk, it allows them a variety of work and allows them to provide more time to our guests in different service areas. And I'll just show you 2 more. Clean rooms are really important. We were shocked to learn from our women guests in particular that they thought our rooms weren't always as clean and hygienic as we thought they were. And I'll tell you, they're actually pretty clean, but we've learned that we need to go the extra mile. And so we're providing a variety of other kinds of products and routines to clean our rooms. But as we did this, we learned that particularly for our housekeepers, largely women, lifting the beds is actually a very difficult thing to do. So believe it or not, this is a levitating bed that we're prototyping at the O'Hare Airport, Hyatt Regency O'Hare, with a small air pump that raises it about 3 inches so that housekeepers can actually clean the bed better and it's less strain on their back, because a king-size bed weighs about 90 pounds. And then finally, healthy choices. Some of the menus in hotels were designed and they've stayed stuck in the 80s. And what we're finding is healthier menus, healthier portions, smaller sizes are important. And it's also important for our colleagues. So we're looking at our cafes, our cafeterias to provide those sort of healthy options for our colleagues as well. So for us, it's a journey from just moving beyond operating hotels and providing different kinds of experiences, designing different elements that create better experiences for our guests and our colleagues. So our first approach to this will be to launch an experience for women starting next year, and then that's the beginning of our journey as we move forward.